For all of you who listen to Mackey's Second Floor Studios presents Submersion and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android device. I use the app and I love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure to set Mackey's Second Floor Studios as a favorite so you don't miss any of our new episodes. Again, the app is the Podcast Republic app, available on Android devices.
All right, shall we begin?
Let's do this. Let's rip right into it, man. What do we got going on?
Wait, don't you have to say like episode something?
Episode 39.
Woo! See, you got to start off right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll throw people off, really. Throw people off our
That was the point, because it's not even a real episode. It is a
submersible episode, right? That's what we call it?
submersible pod or something.
Submersible pod, sure.
We don't even know. We do so many of them.
We do a lot of them, and we definitely keep them right in the bank, so we use them in the future when we need them, which is the future being in like 8 hours or something. Yeah.
Yes.
And just to pull back the curtain a little bit, Brom was supposed to be on this episode, but he was like, I prefer eating chicken wings.
I launched him at the torpedo tube, if I recall correctly. And I took over. Yeah. It's me.
And you'll hear that other voice.
You
That's
recognize
the guy
my voice
him.
now, because I'm a regular player. Patrick.
Right, that is Patrick
The
in
twin.
London.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dun,
Cool.
dun, dun.
And you watched what we're going to be talking about today. How long ago did you watch this?
15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, I probably finished it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're, this is fresh, man.
Yeah, he's
This is
coming in
fresh.
hot.
Yep.
Yeah. And what else is going on? I mean, we got bowling tonight, so we got to make sure this recording goes smoothly so we can just like jet out of the submarine.
I got to get better at bowling, man. I've been in a funk.
Everyone's been in a funk.
Oh, that's right.
I started off the season in a funk.
I started off red hot, which was a mistake.
Yep. And Cole has started off almost like you were last year, where he needs a sports psychologist to take care of some shit.
He's got to wear that tutu. There is a woman in our league who, not in our league, but the league before, who if you roll less than 100 in her group, you're supposed to wear a tutu. And I've had to wear that before. And I think Cole needs to wear that.
Yeah.
He's had two this season, man.
Right, yeah. And he's been in a very much of a funk, trying to get out of it a little bit.
And some people might be like, oh, well, hey, I can't break 100. All right. Cole, I love you. You've been in league for what, 3 or 4 years now?
Yeah. I think it's actually 18
breaking
years.
It, man.
He's been in the league for 18 years.
So is your team like mid-table? Or are you still like terrible?
You're so nice. You're so nice.
Yeah, no. So there's 20 teams. If there was relegation, we would have been relegated every season probably. Maybe not last year because it's a handicap season. But if it raw score-wise, we are significantly below any other team in the league.
So you're like Leeds United. Bam. That's some ref.
That's right. We are like Leeds United, that team that everyone knows.
Yeah.
What's that, like a sheep? Is that like a goat? What is that one?
Leeds United, I'm pretty sure that they might actually be below of like the actual level now. But they were
out of the...
Well, they at one point were like the champions of the Premier League, and then they got relegated, I think, 4 years in a row.
Oh, my God.
And you can get like those 9 levels to English football. So,
wow.
I wonder what league we'd end up in. I guess we're already in a pretty low-level league.
Whoa. Come on. All right.
Yeah.
Enough about, I could talk about bowling all freaking day.
I think we should probably get into it. So... Awooga, dive.
It's a short episode, guys. We don't have all the, capital for all the effects and all that stuff.
No.
Budget is low.
Occasionally, the USS Wetfloater encounters mysteries even deeper than it can explore. In cases such as these, a crack team of experts board our submersible and plumb the deepest depths of submarine pop culture. This is Mackey's Second Floor Studio presents Submersion, a submersible pod. All right, so Patrick, what did we watch today?
We watched the 17th episode of Season 2 of The X-Files called Endgame.
Right, so just to be specific, Endgame is an episode of X-Files that contains a submarine. It is technically part of a two-parter. So the first episode is episode 16 called Colony that kind of sets up the whole thing. But there is no submarines in that. But we're going to be recapping both of those for the most part.
Right.
It's hard to recap 17 without being like, oh yeah, and also these people.
Oh, just being thrown into it?
Yeah, because you're kind of thrown into a whole bunch of shit.
For the record, I did not watch episode 16. So.
Right, yeah.
Well, this will be just like an eye-opening experience for you. So I'd never even watched X-Files ever.
You've never seen a single episode?
I've never seen an episode.
It's a pretty good one, actually. I mean, I think that as the two-parter goes, it's a really solid episode of what X-Files can be, and it actually has a lot of important things happen. Like, you were right away like, who's this chode Skinner behind the desk? And you get to see Skinner for the first time really become like a true ally of Mulder and Scully. And that's a very important part of the series as a whole. Mm-hmm. And then you get to see Mr. X, which is not an original character, but someone who's plays a very important role in the series, at least in seasons 2 and 3 and some other seasons, I think.
All right.
And then the bounty hunter, I think, comes back, I believe. Is that
whoa.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You want me to spoiler alert?
Come on, dude. We are not about spoilers on this show.
No. So let's get into a little recap of this. So it actually opens with what Patrick will recognize, which is Mulder is totally sick, like looks like he's about to die. In reality, he is about to die. And he is being taken into a hospital and he's in extreme hypothermia and he's being put into a warm bath to try to like save him or whatever. Oh. And we see Scully come in and she's like, what the fuck? That's my like, bro, that's my boy. Like, let me in here. You are killing him because the only thing saving him right now is the cold. You're going to kill him if you try to warm him up. And the doctor's like, fuck you. And Scully's like, no, fuck you right back. And one thing you might not...
This doctor just relinquishes, later.
Okay, so one thing you got to also understand, because you don't have the background, is Scully is a doctor as well. So they are peers. Like, she has an MD and stuff.
I wondered what was going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does she know how to run this whole operation?
So that's part of it is that she went to med school and then she became an FBI agent. So she has an MD. Yeah.
Interesting career path.
I mean, I'd say she's a very interesting character and beautiful and sexy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm happily married, so...
Yes. And so then it flashes backwards 2 weeks into the Beaufort Sea near Alaska, where a research vessel or something sees a UFO crash into the sea, a la The Thing, or all these other ones that open with like a UFO crashing. And you're like, oh shit, we get an alien episode of X-Files.
Well, it's funny because they're just watching this thing like buzz by the ship. Yeah. He's like, it's buzzing, and this guy just points at it. It's gonna crash. Yeah. How do you know, man? It's a UFO. Yeah. They can do whatever they want.
Well, they actually technically didn't think it was a UFO, right? They thought he was like
the guy even said, pilot, right? There's a UFO.
Right. But then on the news report that they see, it says it's a downed test pilot, and they pulled him out of the ocean. Or
for the record,
and he somehow survived.
A UFO could be anything. It's just
there we go.
Unidentified.
That's true. It was unidentified. So. But and one thing you also got to understand is X-Files is going to split into two types of episodes. One of them are some of them are standalone. Some of them kind of go along this arc that is the alien arc, and this is part of that arc. So it's pretty exciting when you get one that's alien. Originally, when I first started watching, I was like, oh, I really like the standalone ones. It's more like procedural. And over time, it's like I only really care about these alien ones because they kind of move forward the plot.
So it's really move forward
stuff. And then 2 days later, it goes to a abortion clinic in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and there's this doctor who's walking around and he's like getting some coffee, and he sees on the news this rescue of this downed like test pilot or whatever, and he's like, oh shit, that's someone I'm scared of, and runs out of the room into another room, and there's the guy,
dun dun dun,
and he's super tall and like buff and like super jacked, and he's like really handsome and whatever. And
wow,
also
into this guy.
And he also has an actor from Cobra.
He's the future.
So
I am the future
guy in a movie called Cobra that everyone should see because it is amazing. Sly Stallone, it's great. And he's there and he's like, he fucks this guy up. But part of it is you also start to see is he like stabs the doctor with and green shit comes out of his thing. So
you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. So it's like, clearly we're dealing with some alien shit. The doctor seemed to be some kind of alien as well because his blood was all greenish and shit. And then, also clearly this, guy is an alien because he's on the UFO. And he lights the whole place on fire. And basically they kind of like chalk it up to not being able to find the body to be always burned to cinders, which is crazy. How hot would that fire have to be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I don't know what kind of, chemicals they got in an abortion clinic.
Who knows, yeah.
And they probably had all those, get 10 abortions, get one free coupon books sitting there.
Obviously.
Probably burned up, and those are super hot.
Right. And those are just going to be really a fire hazard.
Oh,
can't
like crazy.
I'm shaking my head right now.
Yeah,
No.
Patrick doesn't endorse all the positions taken by other hosts of this podcast.
Sure. That's the reason.
Yeah. So, then we go in, and as is always with the X-Files, oftentimes these cases start not with them like finding something strange or, whatever. Someone just sends an email to Mulder. Presumably it ends up being the woman who you will see, spoiler, but presumably it's her. I actually I'm not absolutely sure. Or maybe it was the doctors.
I think it is. I think it's
getting
the woman.
killed.
It's hard to tell. I was so focused on, the age of the computers.
Right, sure.
That was really throwing me off.
If you want to see an excellent X-Files episode, there's one where there's a killer computer, and it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It is the worst.
Killer computer?
There's a killer computer ones are really bad, and there's the one where an astronaut comes back from Mars, which is more or less Species 2, the same plot as like Species 2, and it is awful. Anyways.
Can't wait.
What he gets in the email, what Mulder gets in the email is 3 different obituaries for people, and Scully's like, what the fuck, who cares, like 3 obituaries, whatever, they died in fires, whatever. It sounds like it's just right-wing radicals or whatever. And then he's like, I thought that too until I looked at the pictures, and it's 3 identical people. And she's like, triplets? And he's like, I don't think so, like they don't have any relation, they don't have any connection that I can tell, like they just look exactly the same. So they go out and they're trying to find out kind of what's going on, and so they go to one of the spots where, the accident happened, and they find in like the newspaper an ad being like, have you seen this person, with like a number on it or so, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so like,
it's a good way to find somebody.
Clearly someone's trying to find people who look just like that doctor, just using local newspapers. It's such a great thing. Cause like obviously, So then they go to the newspaper, ask like, who put this in there? And the person's like, I don't fucking remember. It's like, oh, was it this person? Cause one thing they do, they bump in briefly into like a pro-life radical or whatever. It's like, no, it's not that pro-life radical. And so that kind of throws that whole like more reasonable plot out the window. It's kind of going more towards Mulder's like, ooh, something spooky's going on here. And they're like,
could be an alien.
Yeah. Like, well, it seems like it's going north. Maybe we can find out the next spot that he's going to hit whoever this murderer is, a serial killer. Can we check the messages that were left on this thing? And the woman at the newspaper is like, yeah, if you pay the bill, then you can check whatever you want. And so they do that and they check it. And lo and behold, there is a tip for Syracuse, New York, which is north. So they start going that way, and they call ahead to the FBI, headquarters there or whatever, office there, and is like, sit on this guy who we're clearly looking for, and just like until we get there. And so this guy goes over to the house, and
he's a pretty shitty FBI agent, man.
You
can see the guy is clearly in a confrontation through the door, and he's like, I think I'll sneak around the back.
Yeah, because
I won't try to help him.
It got a little out of hand by the time he was going around that house or whatever.
Dead.
More than dead. He was melting into the wood at that point by the time he gets around to their house. But he goes in there, and clearly, unsurprisingly, he gets there right at the moment that the bounty hunter, this downed fighter pilot, let's call him the test pilot for now.
TP?
He was just like a random test pilot, but he's also a serial killer as far as we know so far. And he kills this doctor, and he does it again by kind of stabbing him, and then the body like dissolves, and that kind of explains why there's nothing left over when there's like fires or whatever. But the FBI agent also busts in, is like, gotcha, and he shoots him a bunch of times, but he also bleeds.
Just green goo, but
doesn't seem to be hurt at all. But then also all this like stuff, like gas, comes out of his body, and like the FBI agent gets like totally fucked up and falls to the ground and more or less dies. I mean, I guess at that moment he dies.
He succumbs to death from bodily gas.
Right. Which,
could happen to
anybody. It really could happen to anyone. It's not, at this point, nothing paranormal I can tell so far. Yeah. Seems pretty reasonable.
Dude, you hit up. I mean, Brahm's going to wing night tonight, man. Yeah, probably tomorrow that guy could kill somebody with his.
If we shot him with a gun, who knows?
Like, hot sauce and gas.
Anyways, Mulder and Scully show up, and they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And weird, right?
This is weird.
The FBI agent's there. Wait, that's weird. We just saw him clawing at his face and clearly succumbing to this gas coming out of an alien.
Yeah.
That's strange. But the guy's like, yeah, nothing's going on. Couldn't find anything, whatever. And then Mulder and Scully are like, well, we'll look around. And he's like, cool. And then he goes over and opens the trunk to the car.
This was unnecessary.
What, him turning into the other person or what? Or just like...
No, this whole scene. Yeah. With him opening the trunk. So the guy walks over, opens the trunk, looks at what is essentially himself.
Right. dead.
For like a long time.
Yeah. He's just like, he's just checking him out.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that guy. Why did he strip him down?
Oh, he had to get his clothes. He was wearing his clothes.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't be in his like weird test pilot suit.
All right. That's always like one of my fears, as if,
If someone murdered you, they'd strip you
yeah,
down.
and then like, the cops are like, well, we found him and he's naked. We're like, why was he naked? Well, they stripped him down. Why did they do that?
Well, you're dead at this point. Why would you care?
Well, it's just my memory.
Oh, I see. You're just like you're embarrassed that they stripped you
Yeah,
down.
I'd be embarrassed by it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what it is, man. Anyway, so when he's looking at himself, essentially, all of a sudden his face changes back to
Pretty good effect.
Pretty
for the
good
time.
effects. I was going to say.
think so.
Yeah. Right?
Impressive.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Actually, I guess you didn't get to see this one in particular, but he does it throughout the other episodes as well.
Yes.
So you would have seen him do it a few times.
not as good as Face Off, but
Well, in Face Off, the trick is that the actors were just portraying the other actor.
oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't.
No
They
way.
didn't actually put the face on him.
That changes everything.
Right. Yeah. So the effects weren't really all that great because it was just a person acting.
Shit.
Yeah. And so, anyways, Scully and Mulder are like, what ifs, not that much interesting, whatever. And they
Not
get
that
back.
there's all this goo melted through the floor
Right.
that you could clearly see, but they don't care.
Yeah. So, so they go back and they're like, that was, whatever. We didn't find anything, whatever. But Skinner, this guy Skinner, who is kind of heads up the office of the FBI. Is he the head of the FBI? No, he just heads up kind of the local stuff, or Mulder or whatever. But anyways,
He's
Mulder's
Mulder's
immediate
superior, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically. And he's the one when the show starts, he's the one who is initially talking to Scully and like puts her on the case.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a dickish character for at least definitely the first season, but he's also part of why they end up getting back together, getting the X-Files back up and running in season 2. And then he becomes like a really big ally. Basically, these episodes are the most important for that. But at this point, he's still kind of a dick. He's like, what were you doing? An FBI agent died while you were up there. Like, didn't you know that? Like, you screwed everything up. You're on hold. You can't do anything until we sort this out. And I want a full report.
Duchovny's like,
Done.
why? Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So Duchovny is like really acting his little heart out now. Skinner.
He's crying. He's pounding his fist on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real tryhard at acting. That's not true. He
No,
tries as
dude,
little
his
as
boss
possible.
is. Skinner
Yeah,
is.
Skinner is.
He's really going for it.
Yeah. So anyways, they're kind of like, sitting on whatever, but at the same time, so they're not supposed to be really doing anything, but they realize that there's another, doctor in the area, right? Is that what it is? And they also kind of meet up with a CIA agent, or CIA agent comes and sees them.
I
think that's what it was. No. So it's a fake CIA agent. So a CIA agent comes and is like, I hear you've been working on this thing. Like, I've been working on it too. Basically, let me explain it to you. It was a Soviet plan to, have spies in the United States by doing a cloning program. And then they were here and they've continued on. And now there's a Soviet spy who's come to kill them all because like the program's like under threat or some shit, whatever.
And they wanted to go into the medical field.
Yeah,
so they're all abortion doctors.
Yeah, that's right. They're gonna poison the blood supply, and that's like really important. So like that's why they were all doctors and stuff like that. And of course, Mulder, part of being his character is he just like totally believes it. He's like, yeah, I believe this. And then Scully's like,
obviously that's
slow your roll. This guy's real creepy and weird.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, anyways, we found another doctor. Let's all go and see him together. So they go with this CIA agent to see this other doctor that's in the Washington area. We also get a brief view of this doctor going out of kind of a weird kind of labby thing with what looks like almost like embryos in large green tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And so that comes to play a bigger role as well.
Yeah, what's going on?
But when he gets
there?
back to his apartment, a knock on the door, Mulder and Scully have arrived. And he's like, oh, how can I help you? There's also a woman who kind of hides at this point. And how can I help you? And then the CIA agent comes out and is standing behind them as well. And the guy is like totally freaked out because clearly he knows, and the viewer knows, Mulder's the only one who doesn't know, that this guy is the bounty hunter.
And the doctor jumps right out the window.
Straight out the window.
I mean, like from 4 or 5 stories up?
At least.
And then gets out and he's like, oh, that was kind of rough landing.
Right. Do you
I'll
think
walk away.
Do you think you could do it?
I could try.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so later, and that'll be episode 40, I think, we'll be recapping you jumping out of a
That'd be cool. We'll get it'll just be the sound effects.
Right, sure. And then I'll be like, my God. It's a 3-minute episode.
Sirens.
Yeah. but then he gets up and starts running away. So clearly some alien shit's going on. They all run out of the apartment. Scully calls someone. Mulder and the CIA agent start running after him. Mulder goes straight after him and gets hit by a car, totally nailed by this car.
Man, he gets wrecked.
Oh, yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah, like a total dum-dum. And Scully comes up after him and is like, are you okay? And he's like, I got the wind knocked out of me. He's like an NFL player where it's like, you have a serious like concussion. It's like, no, I just got the wind knocked out of me.
You just got hit by a sedan going like 45 miles an hour. You did not only get the wind knocked out of you, man.
Yeah, but Mulder's like pretty sure.
Yeah.
And so Scully starts going after, but she's a little late. So the CIA agent gets there first to get to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor is like trying to climb away, and he basically just like murders him, like just like the rest of them.
Oh,
and then Scully comes into the alleyway where he murdered this person, and the guy's like, oh man, I was totally hit in the head, and he got away. He went up on the roof. I'm going to go check it out. And walks away, and Scully's like, that's fucking weird as shit. And also there's a bunch of like green goo behind this dumpster. Like, what is fucking happening right now?
Yeah.
And so anyways, the next day, you know, Mulder is like, I get hit by a car, but I'm like doing pretty good. Like, don't worry about it. And Scully's like, you should probably, we should probably not trust this guy, the CIA agent, because he is probably a bad person. And Mulder's like, I don't know about that. We can't be sure about that. I definitely don't know about that.
He wants to believe. He wants to believe.
Yeah. And so while Scully goes off to... She's going to go do like an autopsy, but also check out like an address or something. In the meantime, Mulder has to go
home.
Well, he has to go talk to Skinner. Like, oh, Skinner wants to find you. Like, she's in the middle of this autopsy, and she's basically like, oh, he died because all his blood coagulated. Like, it's all strange. What happens? It seems impossible. Mm-hmm. Like, his blood coagulated and became like jelly. And at the same time, someone comes in and is like, Mulder, like, Skinner really needs to see you. It's like, oh shit, I didn't ever file that report. And Scully's like, well, I'm going to go check out that address that was on the doctor's bag after this. Like, what are you going to tell him? He's like, I'm going to tell him the truth. I got hit by a car. Ew, some classic Mulder humor.
Yeah.
But he goes there, and Skinner's not there to talk about that at all. Skinner's basically like, we've been trying to reach you because your dad has been calling from Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, Martha's Vineyard, we will go. We go and we sail our boat.
Good, that's
Martha's Vineyard.
That's the fight song.
Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. Da, da, the land I call my home.
Very nice. Yeah, so Mulder's from Martha's Vineyard, where some of the greatest people have been from. Yeah. Yeah, so he's from West Tisbury. Well, he's technically from Chilmark, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's Chilmark. That's right. Yeah.
But then his dad lives in West Tisbury now. Come on. He probably moved at some point.
Wow.
Is that right?
Are there different? Are there like different?
That's what it was, yeah.
Areas of the island that, like, oh, that's the east side of the island. We don't go there.
Yeah, Up Island and Down Island.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, let's not talk about it. It's not Martha's Vineyard podcast.
But it will be.
Could be.
I just sang that great song for it.
I have a name for our Martha's Vineyard podcast.
What's that?
The Washer Shores.
Nice. Yeah. That's good, because we're Washer Shores. And Kyle, you would definitely be a Washer Shore.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah.
Those are greasy people?
Come on. That's such a Washer Shore thing to say. Anyway. He goes home. He basically like flies from Washington, D.C. to Martha's Vineyard in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then, all right, you get a very small notification that we are now at Martha's Vineyard.
Right.
Like, what's going on?
He finds out that his sister, long abducted, actually that's the biggest part of it. One of the biggest, I guess the biggest storyline of X-Files is the abduction of Mulder's sister when he was a kid, and kind of like has fueled his wanting to believe and wanting to find out the truth and stuff like that. And apparently she's back. And the parents are totally seemingly like fine with this. I mean, yes, the mom shows a little bit of stress. She's like, she stayed up all night and she's exhausted and stuff like that. But otherwise the dad's like, yep, and it seems like, hey, like, who else could it be? Must be her. And it's like, wait, what? Your sister's been gone since she was like, how old? Like 12 or something?
He just shows back up.
And then they're like, yep, makes sense.
The prodigal daughter.
Yeah. So then he talks with his sister like a bunch, trying to figure out like kind of what's going on. He believes it, but his sister's kind of like, I basically had amnesia. I was with these like other people, and he keeps calling them like visitors. They're just visitors. Like basically, she's made more or less saying like I was with aliens and living with aliens.
Oh yeah.
And then eventually it all came back to me, and I like found you guys. And he's like, okay. So it's kind of an emotional storyline for Mulder. In the meantime, Scully is investigating this like address and finds all these like buckets full of like green liquid and embryos and shit. And a guy is there, the bounty hunter's there pushing shit over. And she's like, oh man. So he goes back.
He's even stomping on one of them.
Yeah, stomping all over these embryos.
Dude, leave it alone, man.
And then she is so spooked that she decides, I gotta figure out what's going on, right? Is that what it is? Because then she wants to talk to. Oh no. So she decides, okay, I'm gonna hide out in like a cedar in this hotel or whatever nearby. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure I'm not followed and like tell Mulder.
Dude, she is on a public bus.
Yeah.
Calling him on the phone. Hey, by the way, I wasn't followed. I'm gonna be staying at this place.
Right.
You do not make that known. You don't get on a phone the size of a cell phones are huge.
A loaf of bread. Yes.
This is prior to the technology that allowed people to snoop on cell phones. They were clearly the safest way to communicate.
But she was, shouting on
Zach
the bus.
Morris knows this. Everybody knows this.
Everyone knows this, man.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry. And Kyle he's bringing his own experiences from outside world into this because he is a private investigator.
Mm-hmm. I know a thing or two. I look like a private investigator right now.
You do? Yeah. He's got some flame shirts on, like a shirt with just like flames on it.
And he has a trilby. Anyways. Is that right?
A what?
He's wearing his trilby hat.
I don't know what that is.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Anyways, so she goes to this place and she's trying to call Mulder and basically be like...
It's a fedora, but what it actually is called.
I figured out like I need to talk to you, like, all this stuff, but can't reach him because he is, with his, sister at this point. And Mulder is off on like a little adventure of his own with the sister, going off to a no, is that right? Yeah. No, not yet. Not yet. He's just hanging out with his sister, right? Hasn't gotten the phone call yet or something.
Yeah, dude, and they're spooning each other.
Right. And then it just
ends.
It ends with Mulder finally calling Scully back, and Scully's like, hey, what's up? But then Mulder also knocks on the door.
Oh,
and walks
yeah.
in and is like, oh,
Boom.
shit, there's two Mulders. And also, we also already know that the bounty hunter is totally like can shapeshift. So that Mulder is the fucking bounty hunter. And then, of course, that's the cliffhanger that we end going into the episode that Patrick actually watched.
And then, boom! Episode 2. What do we start out on?
Previously on X-Files. That's what it said for me.
It goes through all the previous stuff.
Damn it.
And then, so she gets totally kidnapped because she gets like punched in the face. Well, do you think that's the only time in the series that Mulder has punched Scully in the face? Probably, right?
Ooh.
But this is a clone.
I know. I'm just saying.
He was either possessed at one point.
Maybe he could have been possessed. Yeah, that's a good point.
At one point.
I just think it'd be funny to think like that's the only time ever that they actually like attack each other. No, they're probably almost certainly not the only time they've ever attacked each other though. That's probably happened in other episodes. But anyways, she gets taken at this point by the bounty hunter, and so having been scared by the call that he made to Scully, Dave Duchovny scared. Mulder is, shows up and basically the room's a mess. And his sister's like, I know what's going on. This is an alien bounty hunter. Wow.
Ooh, man.
We're like way behind.
Yeah, we're pretty far behind.
Yeah. I'm not sure how to speed this up, but anyways, the sister's like, I know what's going on. He's going to want to offer a trade. He wants me in the end because he's trying to kill all these clones that are around. They're all clones. A colony basically from aliens.
Alien clones.
And
they're all over the U.S.
And what she's saying is
working in abortion clinics.
What she ends up saying is that he wants her because she knows their secret that you can kill them by stabbing them in the base of the skull. That's the only weakness.
Yeah, and which Mulder's like, anyone dies that way.
Yeah.
But no, this is the only way they die. That's the point. Yeah. And also,
it's their Achilles base of the skull, basically.
Right. The classic thing. And then they also kind of explain that the whole thing is that it was a colony that wasn't really being super successful, an alien colony. They were going to inherit the Earth because we're obviously going to destroy it as human beings. Relevant today.
Nailed that.
And nailed it. Not too hard because it's been going on for a while that we've been just destroying the Earth.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to get political. But then they kind of figured out that one of the best ways to kind of continue the colony or allow it to grow is by creating hybrids, human alien hybrids. And that's kind of how they've been like moving forwards with it, but it wasn't sanctioned by the original like
because it's diluting their genetics.
Yeah, they're an alien species, kind of like, well, actually the opposite of the Predators in the new Predator film, where they actually actively dilute their species in order to create better predators. You know, that movie that everyone like was clamoring for and loved.
Da, 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 Predator.
Right, okay, and and so they sent this bounty hunter to kill all of these doctors all these clones to be like, fuck this colony, like they've been doing unsanctioned shit. And so
cleanup crew,
more or less,
party of one.
Yeah, party of one, really. Yeah, just one person necessary.
He's a machine.
He's pretty good at it.
Yeah. So now they set up for the exchange, right?
Yeah, that's a more or less. I mean, they go to yeah, no, you're actually right. It is. Yeah, they go off to the exchange.
But dude, before this,
at a bridge, yeah.
You guys totally forgot about the submarine.
Oh, we do see the submarine finds the aliens like spaceship.
Dude, they're pinging it like crazy,
which is totally weird and kind of wrong. I mean, and I guess that actually does make sense because you would be pinging something that's stationary or whatever.
And they're like, all right, let's blow it up.
Yeah, they get an order to like straight up blow that shit up, and the guy who's like the radar guy is like, or sonar guy is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we can't just blow it up. And before they do, they get, you know, the whole thing gets like
EMP or something.
Yeah, something like
they are down for the count. They lose all power.
Yeah. So the idea is like they're gonna you know, blow the ballast or whatever and rise whenever they can, but they're currently it's too thick. Like
they're under like 30 foot of sea ice.
Yeah, so they have to.
And I thought they were going to just try to surface.
Yeah,
they do explain later because I was like, that is garbage.
That is impossible.
No way. No.
We've learned a lot on this podcast, and that's not possible.
Yeah.
Anyways, so sliding back over to the other storyline, they're going to meet at a bridge, and at the bridge they got it all set up where Skinner is going to help them out, and Skinner's going to set it up to shoot the bounty hunter in the base of the neck with a sniper, using a sniper. And basically, like, the sniper can do anything. Like, don't worry about it. And
you can hollow out a dime from
200 yards. Yeah. Don't worry about it. And so they start up the setup. And first of all, they should have had two snipers because the one view didn't really work out very well.
No. But he had so many opportunities to shoot this dude in the neck, and he never did it.
Especially since he didn't seem to give a shit about the prisoner once they got the sister was there instead.
Yep.
Anyways, they exchange Scully for the sister.
Mm-hmm.
The sister is being taken backwards. Eventually, he shoots the alien. They think it's successful. Clearly unsuccessful because the alien bounty hunter does not die at this point.
Yeah. But they fall off a bridge.
And the sister goes down there too.
I'm not sure how big the dimes are, but that guy was ridiculous.
Yeah, that must have been a pretty big dime because he missed it.
Yeah.
Missed that alien for sure. And so Mulder's obviously broken up. He has to go talk to his dad in one of the more embarrassing scenes that you get to see Mulder try to perform act. David Duchovny at this point has to cry and tell his dad that he lost his sister. First of all, the dad's not doing him any favors because the dad's like, this is really going to break up your mom and you lost sister again. I was like, this is how you react to the 20-year absence of someone who then dies by falling off a bridge. You're like, whoa.
Because of your son's decision.
Yeah, nice going. Smooth move, X-lax, more or less. And David Duchovny is like, trying to cry.
It's the worst.
And I was like, this is straight up amateur hour. What is happening right now?
It was horrible.
Yeah. It's like early years of Seinfeld where you're like, okay, I'm going to give him a little leeway here because Seinfeld was a stand-up comedian. He's not like a natural actor. Eventually he came into his own. Here, David Duchovny is supposed to be like a real actor. He cannot cry. It's not possible.
Word. Dude, I cried harder yesterday cutting onions, man.
Yeah, I cried harder realizing that that's how he was acting at that moment.
Getting paid. Buku bucks.
I wrote one note while watching this episode, and it was rough crying scene. That was the only note I wrote during the entire thing.
Mulder's great when he's deadpanning some kind of like dry wit or deadpanning just being like kind of like a kooky guy. Anything else he's asked to do, not good. Just not good. Anyways, he's off crying. Scully is like, or ends up finding they end up finding the body of the sister or whatever. Mulder decides to investigate his sister. His sister had like a card or something on her
from another abortion clinic.
Yeah, so he goes over there and he finds a whole shitload of sisters there. She's like 4 of them, and they're like, "Oh, and this one's the original. She's the original." And they're like, "You got to save us. You're the only one who can save us." That doesn't last very long because David Duchovny gets totally punched in the face.
You have to do this. You have to save us. I don't have to do anything. I'm walking out of here.
Yeah, and so he walks out straight into the fist of the bounty hunter.
Oh,
who,
yeah.
You know, knocks him to the ground. He's out for the count. He only wakes up when some firefighters pick him up from the burning building. He's like, there's people in there. They're like, no people are in there. Do you know why? Because they fucking dissolved already. Good going, Mulder. Like,
You blew
whatever. Yeah. And so how does he end up deciding to go to the Arctic?
So
he's
he
like,
meets,
I have to do something.
He meets X.
Oh, yeah. He confronts Mr. X at the opera.
The Kennedy
Basically
Center.
like,
Yeah.
He's like, I lost. I need to, take out this bounty. I need to follow this up. Like, what is,
They made a lot of good
going.
opera references here.
Yeah.
Well, the fat lady's not singing.
Right.
Like,
And so
right, come on.
in the end, he kind of reveals, okay, Alaska, there's a group going out there. Submarine has been disabled. We know that it's near this, like, oop.
An angry pooch.
Yeah.
We're going to put him down.
Yep. So they're going to end of Thor. And so he decides to go up to Alaska. Thor. And and disappears kind of. In the meantime,
He also leaves Scully a cryptic message.
right. And so Scully,
Don't follow me, babe. So it says.
basically says, "Don't follow me, babe."
Yeah.
But she's like, I gotta follow him, babe. And so she kind of like goes through all those hoops, right? Talks to Skinner. You got to help me. Tell me where he's going. And Skinner's like, I don't even know. And then she's basically doing the Mulder. She sets up an X on his window to call Mr. X, sleeping on the couch, just like Mulder does every night, and knock on the door. There's Mr. X, and Mr. X is like, I guess I had the wrong door, like, fuck you, and like tries to walk away. And she's like, you gotta help me. And he's like, I don't have to do anything. Get out of here. And gets on an elevator and goes down. And surprise, surprise, Skinner's there. Hero. This was like one of my favorite scenes of when I watched the series. And I didn't really watch it past like the third season, but this one, I loved this. Skinner being kind of like a hero.
Oh, man, this had my favorite line in the entire 2 episodes right here.
What's that?
So Skinner confronts him, and X is there, and they're about to fight. He says, how hard do you want to make this? He says, harder than it has to be. And then their lips just touch.
A little bit. Just a little bit of a little peck.
It's like, oh.
And so Skinner...
X-Files. More like triple X-Files.
That's
Here
right.
we go.
So Skinner's all bloodied up, but goes up and basically tells Scully like exactly what's going on.
He's
up
sweaty
and
but
over
satisfied.
Right. Exactly. Basically saying there's a trek. There's a trek on the ice, but you can follow him basically. And so she starts to catch a plane in that direction.
To Alaska.
We flash over to Mulder. He's found our beautiful, gorgeous submarine.
Sticking out of the ice.
Yeah, sticking out of this.
Magnifique.
It's impossible the way its little wings are. Like they haven't broken through the ice somehow. It's just sticking out as if it somehow put its wings upright and went through. It's quite amazing how they set up that set. That looks absolutely terrible when you actually look at it. But
well, dude,
beautiful.
we wouldn't know it's a sub otherwise. We'd just look at it and be like, what the hell is that?
There also wouldn't be anything to turn and almost crush Mulder as he just like
that.
Yeah, I don't even understand why that
very
was happening.
slowly rolls around on the ice afterward.
That
Didn't even have a good payoff. It's not like you even saw him like roll out of the way.
No.
Really, you just saw him kind of roll a little bit.
Yeah. That was reminiscent of the scene in Austin Powers. Remember when he driving that slow bulldozer? Get out of the way! And he's like, ah! Then he just slowly gets squished. I was like, that is literally what we're watching here.
Yeah.
So he goes into the sub and then the crewman does a axe circles around Mulder, and then everyone is like, should we just restart the series with this guy as Mulder? I don't understand. This is crazy.
Yeah, this like bit actors like going nuts, like emoting like crazy. Probably David Duchovny was like, fire this man. Get him fucking because he is like emoting his little heart out. The alien at this point is like a professional actor because he's like,
oh man,
pretending, the bounty hunter's pretending to be this crewman, and the crewman's pretending to be like crazy scared and shit. I'm like, I don't even know how you pretend to do this.
Yeah,
you have to be amazing. He must have got an Oscar back on an alien Oscar, I guess.
Yeah,
back on his home planet or whatever.
That guy was the best actor in the entire show.
Yes,
hands down.
This little bit part. But then basically Mulder's like, "Fuck you, you're the bounty hunter," and he's like, "What? I'm not." And then eventually he's like, "Yeah, I am." Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna
his ass.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, and like. Duchovny falls over and he falls right on top of the captain. The captain's like dicks out. And it's like, that's weird, whatever. And like gets up again. And I was like, wow, what's this on TV? How is this on Fox?
Yeah.
And then basically beats the shit out of him, says, "Your sister's still alive. Hope that satisfies you." Throws him out of the submarine. He's like unconscious on the ice, and then zooms away in his submarine to go pick up his spaceship.
But then, yeah.
Basically gets his ass kicked.
That's it, man. And then that's where we get the super slow crush scene.
Yeah, he almost gets crushed.
Almost gets crushed by the sail.
Yeah.
And then Scully saves his life.
And then Scully saves him because he's only alive because the cold is stopping a virus that's in the blood of in the body tissue of the person, of the alien bounty hunter, from killing him. So like he'd been exposed to it in the submarine, and then, you know, he's going to die, but the cold is kind of leaving it dormant so he can survive a little bit longer. If they were going to warm him up, he would die pretty much instantaneously. Instead, they can kind of keep him lower temperature, and then they figured out a cure for the retrovirus.
See, I wish they never figured out a cure in the rest of the entire series. He's always trying to figure out ways to keep him cold. He's got like some kind of ice jacket on, and they're in like LA, and it's 95 degrees.
He's always,
oh shit.
He always has an ice cold Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta drink this ice cold Coca-Cola real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get this Coors Light. It's it's cool like the Rockies.
Yeah.
They also do a very long monologue by Scully at this point, where she basically tries to explain, like, I
still don't believe.
I've seen aliens now, like for real and for sure, but I'm gonna still choose to not believe because it makes that is who I am. Just like being a believer is who Mulder is, and you're sitting there being like, this is a fucking load of horseshit. Like, I know, you definitely see an alien now. You saw someone's face melt in front of you.
Yeah. They don't give that up for like 3 seasons. Every episode. Yeah. She keeps on being like, it could have been something. And you're like, what is happening right now? You're supposed to be like an FBI agent / MD. And you at this point, you have to give it. Like, you've seen people like light themselves on fire and shit, like out of nothing. Yeah. You've seen like literally people with like alien viruses and computers that are killing people and shit. Like all kinds of crazy stuff is happening around her. And she still don't believe. Anyways, that's the episode. We went really long in that. I think there's just a lot that happens in a TV episode. So a TV episode has like as much information as a movie, but we had to do 2 of them. So
yeah, I don't know. And it's so crazy with the X-Files, you know, from my vast experience of these 2 episodes. There's a lot going on, man. A lot of craziness.
A lot of stuff happened. This one is particularly dense too, since it's one of the, you know, kind of foundational episodes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's bigger than just the episode in it. But that's it. So what do you think score-wise?
For me? Oh, dude. Duchovny.
We're doing it at 6, remember? Because he's
that's right. It's Duchovny, man. The show itself was interesting. I wasn't really sure. I mean, there was a lot going on. I guess I'd give it like a 3.5.
Whoa.
That's a little lower. I would definitely give it a 5. I think I would have given it a 6 if not for some of the like faults you could have there. Like, I feel like if maybe David Duchovny, like, at one point when he like was going through the submarine, maybe his shirt got caught in like a piece of metal and got ripped off or something.
Oh, like yeah. Mm-hmm. And then like just a bucket of grease dumped on him or something.
Yeah. Then, you know, probably get up to that 6. But as it is, probably a 5 because it was just didn't emote because he actually is an emotionless robot. Sorry.
Dude, that cries.
An emotional robot. Hold on, let me write that down real quick. Emotional robot. It's just an idea for something.
It's a good band name.
Yeah. Emotional robot.
It's pretty good.
So anyways, yeah, I'm going to give it 5 inches. It is truly like, it made me remember why I really loved a lot of these X-File episodes. It's like really dense with this like mythology and really important for like future episodes, but also still is pretty procedural. And I don't know, it really is a really well constructed show. And this one in particular, I thought was well done. I don't know, give it a 5.
All right.
Yep.
Patrick.
And I'm going to go with the same, I think, 5. I was going to do 5.5 because remembering back, the first 2 seasons of X-Files are a little bit weird. There's like a lot less of that arc storyline. They're almost all Creature of the Week or like Mystery of the Week shows, like all of them. Yes. And a lot of them are like really throwaway. Like the computer one, for example, was a good example of the first season where you're just like, why am I watching this?
And the one that's right after this one is one where they go and it's like ghost animals from a zoo or some shit.
Dude, I would watch that 100%.
Well, watch the next episode because it's about like ghost animals or some shit. Or they become invisible because they get touched by aliens or something. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. It's not a good episode.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait to watch it.
But then I distinctly remember watching this episode and thinking, oh, now I get why X-Files like was a phenomenon when it was like running. It's because of episodes like this. Like this, it all of a sudden all connected with the alien bounty hunter who you kind of know comes back later. he escaped in this episode, but he keeps on coming back to Earth because he is an alien bounty hunter. He has to hunt down aliens, and just like, and I really like the character from Cobra. If I had a 5.5 and then I saw Mulder try to cry, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. I'm gonna give it a 5. I can't do it. So
yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, that's how it ended up 5 as well.
Yeah, so one thing to mention also, it's hard to give it a 6 just because the submarine really plays very little role in the show as well. So, you can... I'd rather give a 6 to something where the submarine is, like, central.
Dude, it should have been all on the sub.
They could have done a lot more with it. I don't know. Anyway.
It's a weird thing to have in a show like this and then not do more with it.
So I am going to go a couple little trivia things. I'm not going to do it really formally. It's just stuff that I know about this episode a little bit. One is that the alien bounty hunter actor Brian Thompson, he auditioned and won the role. They weren't able to do a lot of time auditioning it. They had to do it pretty quickly, but they knew it was important. So they wanted something perfect, and they felt like his distinctive look was what they wanted, and they got really out of it. They have similar stories with Samantha the sister, played by Sue. I don't have that one leaked. Lichty or something. Anyways, she was really, really well received. Like, people were really impressed with her and super excited that she got to be kind of like a recurring character in the end for this kind of stuff. So she I think she gets to come back in some episodes. Same thing with the bounty hunter in the end. Other things that I kind of had heard about this one is that this is generally regarded as very well received by critics. Only thing that was criticized was they mostly enjoyed the series for how Scully was kind of the skeptic and a strong female character, but she was had to play a little bit of a victim role in this case of being like kidnapped and then rescued and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they weren't super into that, but they did give a little plus to Mulder taking on more of a usual female role of having some kind of family member emotional stuff. So instead of Scully having this big emotional thing with a family, they had Mulder have that instead. So he's much more vulnerable in this episode than someone like Scully. So that was kind of a positive given to that. And then another thing is that an episode that people often, like you say, X-Files Submarine, there's another episode that where people age very quickly on this like boat and or ship. And I'd always assumed it was a submarine. Brom, I know, was like, oh, that's a submarine episode. When I looked, no, it was a destroyer, an escort destroyer, whatever.
Disappointing.
The reason why that we maybe got confused is that because they had to they used that destroyer for this as well, for the interiors of the submarine. So everything you see inside is actually just on a destroyer, which you can kind of tell. I mean, it's pretty
wide open.
It'd be a very, very spacey submarine if that was, what it actually looked like. But because they had this destroyer to be able to film some submarine shots, they were like, hey, we may as well use this. And they wrote that other episode in order to use the same destroyer in another episode.
Wow.
So it happens a little bit later in the season that they have one set on a destroyer as well. So it gets kind of mixed in people's minds.
Yeah.
At least it got mixed in mine and Brahms both. That we had assumed that was a submarine episode. It was not. It was a destroyer episode.
Dang.
So a few things. Yeah. And then a very quick Phantom Zone.
Engage the Phantom.
Phantom's engaged, sir.
Normally, I would just be like, it's too easy. I'm going to do something different and use someone different and be like, see how smart I am. I was able to do it even not using it. But fuck that. And we don't have time for that shit. Like, David Duchovny is in Phantom. David Duchovny is in X-Files. He deadpans his lines in both of them. He is not a good actor. I'm sorry. I know he's a listener. Sorry, Dave. Come on the podcast and defend yourself. We've told you multiple times. Just come on here and say what up. Best bros. Don't worry about Dave. Got you double D. And so pretty easy.
Great.
You seem disappointed in my riffing right there.
Dude, I just wish you took some really long, crazy way.
Just kidding. Okay.
No.
I thought you were going to say you didn't like me insulting Double D.
No, dude. Double D could really step it up for how much he gets paid to act.
And Double D also, he can take it. He's a man.
Yeah. Well, not in this episode. He's really emotional.
Right, yeah.
Be a man.
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding. So anyways, 5,000 words or less, do you guys believe in aliens?
I believe that there is life elsewhere. Definitely not intelligent, though. It'd be very coincidental if in the geological time span, we've been basically a blink of an eye being intelligent on Earth, that at the same time somewhere else their blink of eye was.
But dude, there's so much space.
But I think there's probably some kind of life, even potentially in the solar system, in like near like a hot geyser on like a moon of Saturn or something, where there's like warmth and like it just continually is warm and kind of has
right. How we have the stuff like in the deep sea thermal vents and stuff.
Yeah. I would bet maybe somewhere one of those thermal vents is like its own little world. Take something. Oh, actually, there was something that developed. It's real weird and fucked up and will never become anything. You suck, and then we kill it. Like, hey, you're extinct now. Get out of here.
I think
one of the only things in the solar system.
The only thing I can think of is there could be intelligent life, but it would necessarily mean that intergalactic travel is impossible. So that'd be kind of depressing. But
or they could be at the same steps as we are.
See, that's a gigantic coincidence. That's crazy coincidence.
It would be
billions of years, and we managed to overlap in 100 years or whatever.
If they're like way behind though.
Yeah,
they could be in their Stone Age right now.
Like, are they intelligent? And like, yeah,
oh, they're still throwing poop at each other.
They're basically
just like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs
like crabs,
would be intelligent.
Some kind of crab, like just like gross crabs, like just like fighting on beaches. I'm like, gross. God damn it.
They look like people. Crab arms.
That's the worst.
All right.
And they smell terrible. You're like,
yeah. They kill you with their poison gas.
All right. So we're going to finish this up with somehow Patrick, having watched this literally 15 minutes ago, was able to come up with a game?
I have a game.
Wow.
Because it's a television episode. So this premiered, this television episode was on February 17th, 1995, which is a Friday. That was its first airing.
Oh, all right.
So TGIF, because it was part of TGIF.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip NBC, what was on NBC that day, because it was Unsolved Mysteries, which doesn't have episodes. It's just Unsolved Mysteries. And then the Soap Opera Digest Awards. We don't need to hear about the Soap Opera Digest Awards. But here's
it's actually true. We should save that for air when we actually have our Soap Opera Digest Awards podcast. That's season what, 12?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So here's the lead-ins to X-Files. And what I want to hear is, what would you have watched as a lead-in to the X-Files if you choose to watch the X-Files? And would you have watched something else instead of X-Files once I give you CBS and ABC's lineup?
Okay.
So on Fox as a lead-in, they had a show called Mantis, which is a paralyzed African-American scientist builds a powerful exoskeleton in order to walk again and then becomes a superhero using it.
Right. Yeah.
So the episode was Fast Forward, in which Mantis faces a criminal who has the ability to move so fast he is invisible.
Oh.
Okay.
So what does Mantis stand for? Because it's an acronym, right?
I don't know, and nor will I look it up. So this is all you get. CBS.
I'd always wanted for a pub quiz. I'd always wanted the possibility of doing different acronyms, and that's the only reason I knew Mantis as a thing, is that would be one of the harder ones, is being like Mantis, because there's all kinds of TV shows where it's actually an acronym, ALF, alien life form, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So then Dick Van Dyke starring role. This is CBS. Had Diagnosis Murder with Dick Van Dyke and his son Barry. And in this
Diagnosis Murder?
Diagnosis Murder, yeah. And it was See No Evil, where a woman is swimming in the ocean. 2 lifeguards are on duty, but one is sleeping. When the woman is found dead by drowning, the sleeping lifeguard is accused. His aunt, IRS agent Gretchen McCord, helps Mark with the investigation. So that's Diagnosis Murder. It's an old person show that I would watch, for example.
An IRS agent is helping?
That's what it claims.
I would watch that one.
It's literally as many old people things you can pile up on top of it.
Yeah. But wait for ABC, because we got a 2 30-minute spots with Family Matters, Wedding Bell Blues, and hear this one. When Mr. Looney stood up at the altar on his wedding day, he dejectedly decides to commit suicide.
God.
Carl and Urkel work to talk their friend out of making a big mistake.
Yeah, 100%. What?
Yeah, dude. Family Matters.
Family Matters. I'm watching that.
And then you get Boy Meets World right after, which is a pretty history tutor helps Eric cheat in a test because she finds him to be attractive, while Corey tells Topanga he had mono from kissing another girl.
Wait, what? I don't remember that.
How old is the tutor?
I don't know.
This is getting scandalous.
Also, wait. Corey got mono from kissing another girl?
Apparently. This is season 2 as well, which is crazy.
What?
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Dude,
This is like rocking my world because I remember the ski episode where he like has like a little thing with like a girl when he like breaks his leg or something and has to like stay in the lodge, and that was like crazy when it happened. I was like, "What? You can't cheat on Topanga?"
So what I'm hearing is a unanimous ABC.
Yes,
for the 8 o'clock spot. Cool.
That is TGIF too, right? Isn't that
that
TGIF?
is TGIF? This is TGIF. Okay. Fox obviously had X-Files with Endgame. Mantis is a terrible lead-in for X-Files, but whatever. And CBS, I did not realize that In the Heat of the Night was a TV show starring Carl Weathers. This is a season 8 episode.
Wow.
When
season 8.
When Gillespie runs for a permanent position as county sheriff, his running mate is investigated for allegations of insurance fraud, corruption, and murder. So there.
That actually doesn't sound that exciting.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Maybe a better episode.
And a stiff competition again from TGIF with starting off with Step by Step.
Okay.
Head of the Class, a back-to-back history tutor episode.
Whoa.
And as Carol's pregnancy progresses, the family help with chores, but don't come up to her standards. When Dana and Cody are made history tutors for struggling students, it's Cody's approach that works with them.
Okay, I'm not as into that one. Okay.
Yeah. And then Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Okay.
Season 3 episode Hero. The truth about Mark's heroics come out when the mayor presents him with an award.
That's all we get?
Yeah.
What's the truth?
I don't know.
Oh my God. See, now that's making it hard because now they're implying that there was some story that we were told, but then there's some other story that's really there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected Hanging with Mr. Cooper to have like a big season arc, but perhaps this is like a previous episode.
You know what? I'm still going to have to go with Endgame though. Like those aren't as exciting as the Boy Meets World.
I mean, Family Matter, Boy Meets World.
Family Matters once that blow it out of the water. That's crazy.
That's nuts. I can imagine Urkel doing that.
Urkel's talking someone off the ledge.
Mm-hmm. That's a very special episode. But I think Family Matters, Boy Meets World, and X-Files. That's a fantastic Friday night.
That's a great little Friday.
That's a great little Friday. So thank you. Thanks for clearing up. That's our historical television schedule.
And then maybe afterwards, you could go to the latest movie that's come out, maybe a little Hunter Killer starring Gerard Butler.
That was not 1995.
Oh, 95. That's right.
Oh, damn.
February 17th, 1995. It's going to be some really bad movies.
Probably. Yeah, I don't even know what would have been released then. But
do we have any?
You'd pretty much be finishing up your night with your X-Files and be like ready and jazzed to go for some kind of a new adventure. Yeah, I think that's it though, because you don't have any subs worldwide or anything like that.
No, man. Oh, dude,
what's that?
Oh, I thought this was movies that came out that day. It's like Toy Story, Batman Forever, and 7.
Oh, what? Do you know what came out that day?
And Apollo 13.
Yeah, what came out that day?
Heavyweights.
Oh wow,
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and the Brady Bunch movie, and then a movie called Just Cause with that looks like Sean Connery.
Oh,
that's there.
I'd see Just Cause probably. I'd be pretty ready for something a little different, right?
Are you kidding me?
Well, heavyweights. I feel like you're a little like
Family Matters,
Boy
Meets World, and then Heavyweights, late night.
Yeah, if you line it up like that, that makes sense. But once you have the X-Files in the middle, you kind of want to change a little gears. I feel like.
Yeah.
I want to spin it. I want to spin it over to some crime because I haven't got my crime fix yet. So I go.
Yeah, I guess there might not be a midnight showing of Heavyweights.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's about it. I mean, it looks like we're finishing right on time for a little bowling. And everyone, I'm going to call it now. I know it's spoiler alert, but I'm going to call it 300. I'm bowling it tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's never. Do you think that's ever going to happen? I don't think it's going to ever happen.
Am I going to bowl 300?
Wow.
No, that's not happening.
Sounds like we don't have a believer over there.
I once bowled 7 strikes in a row to start a game, but then
I was there, man.
Apart,
you were getting really nervous.
I got really nervous. When I first started bowling, I was like, it's going to be, if I ever started going towards the 300, it would just be funny. I'd be like, just kind of laughing because it'd be so ridiculous.
And
I got into it where I had 7 strikes in a row and I was legitimately like shitting my pants. Like, I can't believe it. What is happening right now? I could legitimately be like 4 strikes away from getting a 300. And then I bowled a 4. Like I bowled like I got like nothing and then nothing. And I screwed up my whole game.
He was physically in like,
I was like shaking.
Nervous.
Yeah, I was shaking.
Oh yeah, this recording is almost exactly an hour. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's how we do it, man.
Yep. And usually we have something funny that we say to like kind of to jump off, but I don't know. Dicks. Thanks for listening to Submersion. Find us on SoundCloud and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Can't get enough of us? Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every Thursday. And if you like what you heard, please go ahead and give us a rating.